How's it going, young guitar readers? This is Andy Timmons from Dallas, Texas, and very happy to be here today to explain to you my Mesa Boogie rig and play some music for you, and so I hope you enjoy it. I thought I'd start out by explaining to you how I'm running my guitar rig. It's basically an A-B system. To my right, it's basically a Lone Star head is the master tone, and it's being slaved into a stiletto head, so it's a stereo effects setup. And on my left, it's the stiletto that is the main brain head, with the Lone Star being the slave head. Okay, so two separate stereo rigs split with a G-Force TC Electronics delay unit. And as far as the signal chain goes, my Ibanez AT300 runs straight into Peterson Strobo Stomp Tuner, which I tune between every song. And it's a nice pedal because it's a true bypass, so it's not sucking any tone out of your signal. A lot of tuner pedals do kind of suck the tone out, or if you use a volume pedal and a tuner out, that can cause a lot of sonic problems as well. So the Peterson's a great true bypass tuner. From there into a full tone wah pedal, very nice. Also true bypass, which is kind of a thing for me these days as I'm trying to improve my tone in every way I can. It's nice to, most wah pedals will take quite a bit of your top end off, and so that retains that. It's a great pedal. From there, a new pedal that I've been using lately to boost the front end of some of my amps is the Exotic Effects BB preamp. Really nice warm gain box that I can use on the clean or distorted channel. It sounds really nice. And then from there, going into the radial loop bone. It's a unit that allows you to bring pedals in and out of the front of your amp. Again, like some of the older pedals, like the wonderful TS-808 Tube Screamer and the old Octavia, aren't true bypass, so even when they're off, they're actually affecting your signal. So like the loop bone actually lets you take those out of the front of the amp and maintain the sonic integrity of your guitar tone. And then you can hit a loop and bring them in as you need. And then from there, just straight right into the front end of a GCX ground control unit, which is the master controller of this whole system, whereas I can hit a button and it can switch channels on my amplifier, it can change MIDI programs on my TC, and it can also further bring other pedals that I have back on top of the amplifiers, bring those in and out of the effects chain. For example, on the clean channel on the Lone Star, I like to use a Carl Martin compressor to hit the front end pretty hard for a little extra gain, a little extra sponge. And on the stiletto side of things, on the clean channel, I'll use an old TubeWorks tube driver as the full distortion unit on the clean channel. So with a hit of a button here, I can do all that to go to either rig, change channels. So it's very handy in a complex setup like this to have it all programmed. So that's basically it. As you probably noticed behind me, it's instead of 412s, it's a collection of 212 cabinets. And over time, I started realizing that I was really enjoying in the studio the sound of the 212 cabinets over the 412s, and particularly the Mesa Boogie rectifier cabinet, which I've been using now for over 10 years. Even as I've used other amplifiers in the studio, vintage and new, I tended to find that I love the sound of the Mesa cabinet over any other cabinet that I could even try. And this particular rig it's all 16 ohm wired 212 Mesa cabinets, and so I can't use anything else. My ears are so tuned to this particular cabinet. This is a great focus low end. The top isn't too brittle. So it works well live, but especially in the studio too. Just really get the tone that I'm looking for out of these cabinets. All right, I thought I'd give you some examples now of how I'm using the mesas, channel to channel, from amp to amp, and let you hear the tone of the amplifier and actually how I'm using the pedals in conjunction. Starting with the Lone Star side, you'll hear, I'm going to start with the clean channel. And in general, when I use the clean channel, I've got a bit of a compressor in front of it just to hit it and give it a little bit of extra sponge and gain. And you'll also hear a TC Electronics G-Force chorus and echo in the loop, okay? So. And also on the clean channel, I'll also add the tube screamer occasionally for a little extra kind of bluesy tone. Or even the BB also sounds really nice in front of it. This is a very nice, smooth kind of tone. What I love about the Lone Star especially, and also the Stiletto Deuce, is that they both are very articulate amplifiers. They really... everything I'm trying to get out of the amplifier really speaks and comes out, you know, very closely to what I'm putting into the guitar, which is important for my groove. So that's why I'm very happy with these two amplifiers. So that's how I basically use the clean tone. Going to the Lone Star lead channel, the gain channel. So when I hit the switch there, it takes the Carl Martin from out in front of the amplifier. So that's out. This is just purely the Lone Star tone with the G-Force effects with a little echo. So really nice, kind of fat one. It's the first amp I've ever had where you have the bass almost rolled off. There's so much fat low end that's just awesome. And so I really have the bass above 9 on the amplifier. So it's So I'll use that as one of my main tones, and I'll also hit the front of that with one of the gain pedals. Here's the BB in front of it. For something with a little less gain, I'll use the tube screamer. And every now and then I'll put the Octavia on for fun. That real ratty upper octave. And I got a little bit of that vibe on Helipad on the Resolution CD. So anyway, so that's basically how I'm using the Lone Star side of the rig here. From there we can move on to the Stiletto Deuce side of things. And one of the main tones that I use on that side of the world is, like I was talking about, the more of a cleaner channel, like a vintage 60s kind of clean, loud and clean amplifier. And I'll put a channel, not a Chandler, but a TubeWorks tube driver in front of it. without the tube driver. It's really nice. What's amazing about the Stiletto Deuce is that, you know, EL34s aren't really known for their clean sounds, but this is even rivals the Lone Star as far as a beautiful clean tone goes. So starting there, then I'll put the tube driver in front of that. So again, very articulate. Everything's really speaking, and you know, unless I'm playing sloppy, which just happened, maybe not as smooth. But no, it's very, very articulate and very, very toneful. So that's one of the main sounds that I also use. Yeah, the second channel I have set up in just kind of a tight crunch mode. One of my favorite tones. This just sounds amazing. So there's no pedals in front of that. That's just straight Stiletto Deuce. Add a little echo to that. And there you have it. Those are the basic tones of each side of my my massive Mesa Boogie rig that I'm very, very pleased with. And I hope you get a chance to check out those two amplifiers. I think you'll be pleased. So the setup I'm using, slightly complex, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. I love each of these amps separately on their own. I said recently in another interview that if I was stranded on a desert island somewhere in the middle of wherever it might be, and I had to choose one amplifier to be stuck with the rest of my existence on this island, it would be the Lone Star Combo. You know, it's just one of my favorite amps to come along in the last 5 years. But what's really kind of cool and what I've been experimenting with is the different amplifiers with the other one as a slave. So you're kind of mixing 6L6 and EL34s, which each have an inherent, you know, very toneful characteristic, and so you have the best of both worlds as I'm running the rig here. But even just having the Lone Star and the Stiletto Deuce to switch to, Stiletto is EL34, very British sounding amplifier, whereas I've got the Lone Star set up with 6L6s, kind of a different, spongier kind of tone. So mixing the two and A-being between the two is really, it just covers so much ground. I can really duplicate my resolution record front to back perfectly, as well as a lot of my earlier material that uses a variety of other types of amps. And that being said, I've been using Mesa Boogies on and off at least 10 years, probably longer than that. And I've got a good friend, Mr. Steve Mueller, that's worked with Mesa for years, and I was particularly fond of the Mesa Boogie Maverick that came out quite a while ago. And as a good friend of mine, and he lives in Texas, nearby where I live, he's always telling me about the new amplifiers they've got coming out. And I've always enjoyed the work that they've done. But when the Lone Star amp came along, I was really taken aback, and I was like, man, this is really feeling like the home amp for me. I've been playing other amplifiers at that time, but when that amp came along, I thought, I need to really just play what's right in my heart, and that's what the Lone Star was for me. And the more I began working with Mesa Boogie, it felt like I found, not just Steve being an old friend of mine, but everybody that I've met in the companies, from Randall Smith on down, there's a true integrity and genuine love for what they do, a passion about making great guitar amplifiers. And it's not about the business and the money into things. It's really truly about they just want to make the greatest amplifier and get it out to the people, and then back it up with customer service. So seeing that in action, I'm really, really proud to be associated with a company. Not only do I love the amplifier itself, but the company, everybody, they're just great. They feel like kindred spirits. The way I feel about music and the reason that I play music and still do play music, it's definitely not about the money or that end of it. It's because I love it, and I like meeting people in the industry that feel the same way. And so with Mesa and Kanda Shokai here in Japan, it's a great family, it's a great team. So very proud of the association. It's my life passing before my eyes here. I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about my Japanese released CDs here, starting with the Spoken and the Unspoken, which was my first release here on JVC several years ago, 98, I think, something like that. It's a special CD for me because it was, I really liked the variety of it. There's quite a few different styles of music on it, some vocal, some instrumental. And I even played all the instruments on several songs. I guess that's me on drums, folks. Look out. Yeah, Simon Phillips on 2 tracks and me on 2 tracks. What's wrong with this picture? But anyway, something that I really enjoyed making, and I thought represented all my musical influences on one record. So it's kind of hard to get away with these days. But I enjoyed that one. My first release on the Favored Nations label is called That Was Then, This Is Now. And of course, being asked by Steve Vai to put some music out on his label was quite an honor. And so what he wanted to do was put out music from my first 2 CDs, which were called Ear Ecstasy and Ear Ecstasy 2, compile a best of, and then add several new tracks. There are 4 new songs on the front end. And I don't know, it's kind of a greatest hits, as it were, if there were actually hits in my catalog. But I'm proud of that one. You know, Steve was behind it and really helped promote my career around the world. So it was kind of a restarting point. After being a player for many years, it was a nice boost at that point. Which leads us to Resolution, the brand new Andy Timmons Band CD, which came out early this year in May. And you know, every artist talks about how their newest record is their best work and all that. But this is one that I'm really proud of, for a lot of reasons. One being the tone that I was able to achieve on it, and the compositions and the performance. And you know, it was just one of those things where when I started making this record, it was, you know, time to make an instrumental record, but I wasn't that inspired to make yet another just an instrumental record. I thought I'd kind of already done all this before, and I felt like I was repeating myself. But on a couple of tracks on the first Favored Nations record, Steve Vai had commented to me at one point when it was just one guitar, bass, and drums. He liked that sound. He thought, you can really hear the fingers on the frets. And so when I was looking for inspiration for Resolution, I thought, well, I wonder if I can get away with making an entire record with just one guitar on each song. And then I got excited because several things came to mind. I thought, this is going to be really difficult for one, because can I keep the listener's interest song to song and for a whole record with just one guitar performance, meaning no overdubs of rhythm guitars or keyboards or doubling or tripling of melodies like I would normally do on a fully produced type of record. So that I got excited because I knew it would be a challenge, and it really was. A lot of things presented itself. Just tuning, you can usually cover a multitude of sins by just stacking something. You know, double it. Oh, of course, great. Okay. So it was a challenge. I thought, okay, this is going to be, you know, a landmark record for me, and I thought it would be fresh because I hadn't heard many guitar players approach a record like that, to be honest. And so then I thought, okay, now I have something to offer. So we took about a year to really get the guitar tracks the way I wanted to hear them. And but I'm proud of the results, and I hope you get a chance to check it out. Well, thank you, everybody, Young Guitar Readers, for listening to this CD DVD, and hope you enjoyed the music, enjoyed some of the talk that we've had today. And I certainly want to thank Young Guitar once again for having me out. It's an honor that they have included me in their pages once again, so I really appreciate that. Obviously, thanks to Mesa Boogie, Hoshino, Ibanez, Kanda Shokai, everybody that has supported me here in Japan for so many years, and especially you, the guitar players, the fans out there. And advice I always say, just learn as much as you can by ear, then check out the transcriptions. You'll internalize it differently. So until next time, hope to see you next year here with my band, the Andy Timmons Band. And thanks for watching.